What if I told you that people were dying every single day by people that we seem to trust the most? What I'm referring to here is physician-assisted suicide. Physician-assisted suicide happens every single day at any given moment. It involves a doctor injecting a lethal amount of drugs into a patient in order to kill them. Of course, this does involve the patient's consent. I've done hours and hours of research about this topic, and I have finally concluded that it is not moral. So I'm going to tell you guys about the risks involving it. The first risk is risk for abuse. The most vulnerable are put into this position of getting a physician-assisted suicide. I would say the most vulnerable would be the elderly. The elderly sometimes do not have any family, or they have a mental illness that hinders their decision-making capabilities. So it makes it very, very easy for a doctor or somebody else to abuse them in this manner when getting a physician-assisted suicide. A closed system, going along with making it very easy for a doctor to do this, it's very easy for them to also get away with doing it. In many states like Oregon and Washington, it's a closed system. So that means the doctor who performed the physician-assisted suicide is the only one that really needs to report about what happened. So it's very easy for them to lie about what the patient felt or wanted or what they did. Their children and family members also have a big part in this as well. It's sad to say, but a lot of children actually do either pull the plug or talk their parents into getting a physician-assisted suicide in order to gain their inheritance. It's awful. I don't know why anybody would even think of doing that, but it does happen a lot, and no questions are asked when it is done. There is not enough confirmation to call physician-assisted suicide a medical treatment. We do not know what's going to happen in the afterlife, therefore it can't really be called a medical treatment. A medical treatment needs a follow-ups. It's something that happens over a long period of time in order to cure somebody. This isn't curing somebody, this is terminating their chances of being able to be cured or get help at all. No one knows the afterlife at all. You have to obviously experience it yourself in order to find out. And it doesn't matter how many research that we do, we still are not going to be able to understand that. So ultimately, this becomes some sort of religious experiment. It's not a medical treatment at all. So speaking of religious experiment, this also goes against the will of God. Whether you are a Christian or not, I would like to share my experiences with this. There are lots of verses that go against murder and killing, such as 1 Corinthians 6:19 and 20. It does explain that our bodies were bought with a price. Christ died on the cross for us in order for us to be able to live and ultimately live our lives to the fullest, not cut it short. And we're supposed to take care of our bodies. Exodus 12:13 literally says, "You shall not murder." And ultimately, no matter how much we argue, a physician technically is murdering the patient. And also, to go along with this, miracles are possible. We can't cut our lives short because we never know if a miracle can happen. Just because miracles happened more often back in Bible times doesn't mean it can't happen now. Just like my grandfather, he passed away when I was about 6 years old or so of cancer. He was told that he was going to live about 6 months more. He actually ended up living about a year more with cancer. If he decided to do the physician-assisted suicide, that'd be awful, and no one would have ever known, including him. Whether we're religious or not, this all goes down to, is it morally correct for anybody to do this? For anybody to kill another person, or for you to kill yourself and make that decision? this is awful, and I feel like it really does need to be discussed a lot more in our society because it's not really talked about that much. So I have made this decision for myself, and I hope that you guys can make this decision for yourselves as well. Thank you for listening. Here are my resources.